Hello and welcome to Monday Morning Movie Talk with Matt, a weekly show where I break down the box office numbers from the previous weekend and make predictions for the next week's upcoming box office. So without further ado, let's jump right into the news this week. For the box office numbers, we have Jurassic World at number one. It made $204.6 million, which makes it the domestic, which makes it the second highest grossing opening weekend domestically, just $3 million behind Avengers number one, and then I believe like 12 million above, or 13 million above Avengers 2. Interestingly enough, it also is the worldwide record at over 500 million for an opening weekend. So it actually beat Avengers worldwide. It just didn't beat Avengers domestically. And these are estimation numbers, so they could be higher, or they could be slightly lower. At number two, we have Spy at 16 million, which was a drop of 45%. Sorry, my cat is going nuts. At number three, we have San Andreas at 11 million. Number four, we have Insidious Chapter 3 at 7.3 million. And at number five, we have Pitch Perfect 2 at 6 million. So I went 4 for 5 this week. I got all of the predictions besides the number 5 spot, which I thought Mad Max was going to take. But Pitch Perfect only fell 20%. Only fell like 1.3 million or something like that. So it actually did quite a bit better than I thought it was going to. And Mad Max fell off slightly more than I thought it would. The obvious thought for this weekend is that Jurassic World absolutely destroyed the box office this weekend. It did better than Avengers Age of Ultron, which I didn't think that was going to happen. I knew this movie was going to do well, and I predicted it was going to do number one, but I thought it was going to do more around 100 million and not 200 million. So, like I said, this makes it the second highest grossing domestic opening weekend and the highest grossing worldwide opening weekend. So we're definitely going to see more movies. I mean, there's no doubt. But this did extremely well. We're going to, this franchise, it obviously shows them that this franchise is worth investing in. And that even though Jurassic Park 2 and 3 didn't do as well, this reboot is off to a great start. So I can't wait to see what's next in the franchise. So I saw it this weekend. I think it did a really good job of capturing some of the like horror, not necessarily horror, but like the suspense and the monster movie feel from the original movie, as well as providing like interesting commentary on our generation, or the generation of millennials, where it's, we're very fickle with our attention, we're very distracted. It takes a lot to impress us, which is why they're pushing the boundaries of mixing dinosaurs or doing like genetic mutation and that kind of stuff. So it was a really interesting movie. It was good. It was a really good like summer blockbuster movie. Interestingly enough, I think this premise or this idea, so it was like a good dinosaur movie. It was a good monster movie. It was a good summer blockbuster. It was a good Jurassic Park movie. It was the best one that we've had besides the original. And I know a lot of people are going to be upset because it doesn't quite live up to the original. If I'm being extremely critical, it's not quite the same thing, but I think it does as good of a job as it could have. And I'm really excited to see what comes next for those movies. Chill out. Okay, so moving on to the movies that are coming out this week. So the biggest contender for Jurassic World is Disney and Pixar's Inside Out, which is an animated movie about anthropomorphic emotions. So like if emotions were actual living things. It looks interesting. I'm sure it'll do great. But I don't think it has any chance of beating Jurassic World, which I'll get to once we get to the predictions. Also coming out this week is Fukuyama's movie, or his debut movie, Dope. And the movie has been getting like mixed reviews. I don't think it probably has a chance to make it into the top 5 just because of where the numbers fall for this week, but I don't think it'll do amazingly well. It'll do good in some circles. So without further ado, let's get to the top 5 predictions for the week. At number 1, Jurassic Park will drop roughly 50% to 100 million and will retain the number 1 spot. I have no doubt that Jurassic World is going to keep number 1. I don't know if it's going to fall off 50%. It might fall off 60%. It could fall off less to like 40%. I know there's a lot of people that want to see the movie that haven't seen it this weekend just because obviously if you go to pre-order tickets and everything's sold out, then if you're not a huge moviegoer, then you're kind of deterred and would rather wait a week or two to go see it. So I know it'll do well for at least a few more weeks. If it continues on at the rate that it has been, and it does similarly well to the Avengers number 1. That movie was out for I think like 4 or 5 months in theaters, so this could really have a really long tail, especially if they're with big budget studios behind it. So for number 2, I think newcomer Inside Out will debut around or north of 50 million. I don't think it'll hit 100 million. Pixar movies typically do well. 50 million is on the high end of a Pixar debut, and this is a new IP, which we haven't gotten a new IP from Pixar since Brave, and that did around 40 million and topped out at around 300 million domestic. So I think this will be on par for around that. I don't know if it'll do much better or much worse. For number 3, I think that Spy will hold on and will drop 40% to 10 million, or around 10 million. That movie's been doing really well. It's been getting really good feedback. I've heard nothing but good things about the movie. It's a typical Melissa McCarthy movie, but she's really funny, and all the other actors and actresses in the movie are also really good, so I'm sure it'll be around for a little while. And then number 4 is where I think Dope will sit. I think it'll debut around 7 million. Only because there's a lot of people that are looking out for this movie because they've heard great things about the director, and I think it'll do really well in some circles, but I don't think it'll do much better than that. I think 7 million is probably on the high end of what it's going to debut at, but I could be wrong. And then finally for number 5, this is kind of a toss-up between 2 movies, San Andreas or Pitch Perfect 2. If Pitch Perfect 2 continues on this slow decline, and drops anywhere between 20 and 30%, then I think Pitch Perfect 2 will take it at around like 4.5 million, 4.4, something like that. And if San Andreas continues on the rate that it's going at around 60% drop, that'll also put it around 4.4 million. So it's kind of between the two of them. It just depends on which drops less. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up this week for the number 5 spot. And that's all I have for you today. So if you enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your predictions are in the comments below. And as always, see you.